So I already have discussed the cascode amplifiers and why cascode amplifiers are important. The major application of cascode amplifiers is to break the kind of relationship between gain and bandwidth, which is gain bandwidth product should be constant, and cascode amplifier could overcome that constraint. And you have seen that the cascode amplifier's gain is actually the square of the gain of its driver MOSFET. So it was AV1 square. So gain has improved significantly, whereas the bandwidth was almost same. However, apart from this, we so far discussed mostly about gains and the amplitudes. However, if you see the response of an amplifier, you'll find that these amplifiers are working at a particular frequency range. If you increase the frequency, it may happen that the amplifier is no longer working. So the gain is reducing. So it is quite evident that your gain is a function of frequency. In fact, we have seen also while deciding the bandwidth, the WT, we have seen that that beta value is actually decreasing, and it decreased up to 1 at WT. So there is a relationship between gain and frequency. So we should explore that even further. Sometimes it happens that your gain is highest or constant for a particular frequency range, say from F0 to F1 or F1 to F2, which is it provides only constant gain in that frequency range. So which is also very important to understand that why the response is something like that. And if the response is like that, it is very important for a designer to understand what are those values F1 and F2, or say to understand the value at which point of frequency the whole thing will start, the performance will start deteriorating, or which range of frequency is suitable for operation, so that you can properly design your circuit, right? So this is the frequency response of an amplifier, which I'm going to discuss. So in this case, we also call it S domain analysis. Okay, why? Because we are going to replace the j omega by S. You probably have done your this thing Laplace transform. So in Laplace transform, we replace j omega by S, right? And if you see the transfer function of any system, it's like output by input ratio. So if you have a system, generalized system, any system, and you have an input V in and output VO, then your transfer function will be VOS divided by V in S. S here is nothing but j omega. So the frequency, in terms of frequency, you'll find your HS is V0S divided by V in S. Now this input can be voltage, output can also be voltage. Input can be voltage, output can be current. Input can be current, output can be voltage. Input can be current, output can be current. So there are these combinations. All possible combinations are possible in a real system, right? So that's why I said that if it is voltage and voltage, it's voltage gain. If it is current and current, then it is current gain. If it is voltage and current, then it is transconductance, what we say. So it's a gain in transconductance. If it is current and voltage, because V equal to IR, so ultimately your R is V by I. So output voltage, input current means it will give you trans resistance. So gain in trans resistance, right? If it is V and I, then it will provide the amplification or a gain in transconductance. So all these four parameters are important. So based on your application, you will decide. Now this is here a generalized transfer function is shown, HS, which is basically V0 by S and V in by S. And this also can be written as K, which is a constant, into this term S minus J1, S minus J2 up to S minus Jn divided by S minus P1, S minus P2 divided by up to S minus Pn. So this Z value is known as 0 and P is known as pole. So if S becomes equal to any of J1, J2 up to Jn, what will become the system? The transfer function will become 0 or will tend to 0. If PS becomes equal to any of the poles, then the transfer function will tend to infinite. So zeros and poles decide whether your transfer function is tending to 0 or tending to infinite value. Okay. So this type of analysis is a generalized analysis. I would say you can apply this type of thing in most of the systems. However, this time we are going to apply this in our circuit and see what is the different condition that we arrive, okay, or that we find, the different conditions that we find. So we started with, let us start with a simple circuit wherein you have V in, you have connected an series resistance with the input voltage source. It is also connected to a capacitance. So 1 by Cs, here Cs, S means j omega, okay, it's not C suffixes. So here the equivalent impedance associated with the capacitance is 1 by Cs, right? Then you have a load resistance R. So all of them are connected in series with the input voltage source, and VO is your output. So what is VOS in this case? It will be IS into RL. Very simple. If the current flowing in this loop is IS, so your output voltage will be IS into RL. So IS is equal to, on the other hand, V in divided by the impedances or resistances associated with these three components, right? So the value of IS equal to V in divided by RS plus 1 by CS. CS means Cj omega or j omega C plus RL. Simplify it, you'll get V in CS divided by CS into RL RS plus 1. Now what is the value of V0S divided by V in S? You have V0S, and you also have figured out the value of IS. Just replace this value in here. You'll find your V0S by V in S is RLCS divided by RL plus RS whole into CS plus 1. This is your transfer function for this system. Now if S equal to 0, whole transfer function becomes 0. That's why you can say that at omega equal to 0, you have a 0 at that point, right? Now for calculating poles, what you do, you, when HS becomes when HS tend to infinite, you say there is a pole, right? So it will be infinity if this term is equal to 0. So put this value is equal to 0, and then you'll find S is equal to this. So this is your one of the poles, or this is only one pole that is possible in here. If it is a quadratic equation, you will get 2, right? And this value C into R is the time constant associated with this, okay? So you have the HS function like this. So let us modify this a bit. I want this time constant to appear in both, because at this moment you have only time constant in the denominator tau s, not in the numerator, not in this term. So what I have done is I have multiplied RLCS with CS, and also just to balance this particular expression, I put RL plus RS in the denominator as well. Now this one is your tau s cs, and this is also 1 plus tau s cs, and let us define RL by RL plus RS as K, which is a constant. Generally your resistance values are defined already fixed. So what is your gain? Your gain is RL divided by RL plus RS j omega tau s 1 plus j omega tau s, right? Now you start, if you calculate the magnitude associated with this gain, you will find RL divided by RL plus RS, this is a constant value. However, this will become root over 1 plus omega tau s whole square, and this is omega tau s, because s square plus b square is the magnitude if you have a plus j into b, something like that, right? So in this case I have just replaced s with j omega. Now let us replace omega with 2 pi f. So you will get this expression. This is simple algebra, you can do it. In terms of dB, that means decibel, the same gain can be written as 20 log AB j omega. So what is this thing? dB value of a gain, it's nothing but 20 log V2 by V1. V2 is output, V1 is input. So we already have calculated V2 by V1. Our V2 is V0, V1 is Vin. So just replace the AV j omega value, the magnitude of AV j omega value. Okay. So if you replace, here I have already mentioned the AV j omega value, which is this. So if we replace this value over here, what you will find? Let us see this expression. So this expression is similar to A is a constant. Consider this B is another constant, and this is C. Now if you have something like log A into B by C, you can write log A plus log B minus log C, normal algebra of 8th standard or 9th standard. So you will find this whole expression becomes 3 different terms: first term, second term, and third term. Now what is the benefit that you get once you converted it to log values? The benefit that you get is now you have all the terms in plus or minus form. That means, what does that plus mean? The plus means the superposition. Now you have superimposed one term over another, right? So let us see the plot of each term with respect to frequency. Now if you see the first term is a constant. This is constant, right? So this will be a constant value as it is shown here with respect to frequency. There is no change. So this is 20 log RL divided by RL plus RS. So this is a constant value, right? Now if you look at the second term, what is the second term? 20 log 2 pi f tau s. Now what will happen if this f value is 1 by 2 pi tau s? What is the output of this? Just consider the second term, not the other terms. So if you put 2 pi tau s over here, you will find this 2 pi tau s is getting cancelled by this 2 pi tau s. So you are left with only log 1. So what is the value of log 1? Value of log 1 is 0. So in this plot, for f equal to 1 by 2 pi tau s, you have the second term equal to 0. I am plotting only the second term. So this is only the second term, remember. Now consider 10 divided by 2 pi tau s. So what will happen? 2 pi tau s will get cancelled. So you will have log 10. As the base of the log is also 10. So log 10 will be 1. So what is the total value? 20 into 1 is 20. So at 10 2 pi tau s, you will be at plus 20 dB. Similarly, consider 0.1, I mean 1/10 of this value, 0.1 2 pi tau s. In this case, you will have 20 log 10 into 0.1, because 2 pi tau s will get cancelled. So this will give you, this will give you 20 log 10 to the power minus 1 by 10. So minus 20 log 10 by 10. So log 10 by 10 is 1. Ultimately you will get minus 20 dV. So at 0.12 pi tau s you have minus 20 dV as shown here. So this is your second term. What about the third term? This is the third term, right? Similarly, you calculate the value of the third term when f equal to 1 by 2 pi tau s. So you put 1 by 2 pi tau s, it will get cancelled. So it will be 1 plus 1 square. So you are getting minus 20 log root 2. So this is what you get. Now what is this value? If you calculate the value of log root 2, minus 20 log root 2, it's more or less minus 3. Okay. So at this point, the third term, value of the third term will reduce up to minus 3 dB. And then similarly, if you put anything less than minus this term, anything less than say 0.1, if you put 0.1, what will become? 1 by 100, right? Let me explain this to you. So if you put in the third term, it will be minus 20 log 10 root over 1 plus f equal to 0.1 divided by 2 pi s, so it's 0.1 whole square. Okay, so 0.1 square means 1 plus a very small value, means 1 plus 0.01. So it is more or less 1. So the value of this is more or less log 1, that is 0. So you will find that below this, whatever value you choose, in fact if you choose even less, 0.001, it will be even closer to 0. So anything below this 1 by 2 pi tau s, the value of third time will be 0. So it starts from 0. At 1 by 2 pi s, it's minus 3 dB. And then again for 10, if you consider 10, what will happen? It will be like 20 log 10 root 1 plus 10 square. Now 10 square means 100. So root over 100, and in this case it is root over 101, more or less 10. More or less 10, right? So log 10 by 10 is 1, so it is again more or less minus 20 dB. So every time you increase 10, every time you increase this or multiply this value by 10, you get a minus 20 dB change. Similar here, if you multiply this value by 10, you get a 20 dB increase. Increase further 10, that is multiply by 10 again, you get another 20 dB change. That's why the slope of this curve can be said as 20 dB per decade. Similarly, from this point onwards, the slope of this curve will also be 20 dB per decade, this part. Okay, because root over 100, 1 and root over 100 will more or less same, more or less 10. Okay? Little higher than that of 10, but it's more or less 20 dB change. Okay, so this slope is also will be 20 dB per decade. Why decade? Because it is in log scale. Remember, in log scale, every 10, if you multiply this value by every 10, we call it a decade. So here this is one decade, this is another decade. Okay, because you are multiplying this value by 10 and you are getting here, you are getting the value over here. Now if you multiply this value by 10, the value will shift here. So it's each 10 is a decade, and you are getting a 20 dB change in each decade. So we say the slope is 20 dB per decade. Okay. Now if you plot all three terms together, what will happen? So you have this term which is constant, so that's why you will see that there is an offset from 0. However, we can neglect this term as well because it's not very high value. Now our major two plots are the second term and third term. First term is anyways a constant, that's why I put a offset over here. Okay, it started little away from 0 dB. Okay, now look at this. Let us concentrate on f equal to 1 by 2 pi s value. So at f equal to 1 by 2 pi s value, this is 0, this is minus 3 dB. So what you expect? If I combine both, it will be minus 3 dB. That's why at 1 by 2 pi s, your value should be minus 3 dB. So it's like, actually this should not be from here, it should be from here to here. Okay, it should be from here to here, it's minus 3 dB, not up to here. Okay, up to this point, wherever it is touching the 3 dB line. Okay, so it's like at 0 f equal to this, your value should be minus 3 dB, and beyond this you have a 20 dB per decade line, you have another 20 dB per decade line, but in opposite direction, so they will cancel out, both the slopes are equal. So if you add them, you will find that they are exactly same value but opposite sign, so you will get a constant line over here. Is it okay? Is it okay? So this is your constant value. However, below this, whatever value you are getting will be same as it is, because these values are almost 0. However, if you see this point, there is a small slope. So below this you have this straight line which follows this. However, because of this constant value, it will not be exact, it will be subtracted by a constant value, or added by a constant value, I would say, because it is also in the negative direction. This is also in the negative. Why it is negative? Because your RL plus RS value will always be higher than RS, right? Always be higher than RL, which is in the numerator. So your denominator will be always higher, so you expect a negative value in the log scale. So this is also negative, right? So this one will add up. So there is your straight line, and this straight line, these two straight lines, wherever they meet, we call this a corner frequency. So this is your combined plot, wherein a real plot will be something like this. These are the asymptotes. Okay, these are the asymptotic plot, but the real curve will be something like this. You can see the curve over here, it should reflect here as well. So in this case, you will find, if you extend these two lines, they'll meet somewhere. This particular frequency is known as corner frequency, and this concept is first time given by Bode. He is a mathematician or a control engineer. So based on his name, nowadays these frequency response plots are known as Bode plot. Okay, somebody say Bode plot. Okay, so this part you understood, right? Why the real curve is like that, and why this part is 0, and why this is a straight line similar to this. So it's very straightforward, nothing complicated here. Okay, if you put your thought a little bit, you can understand. So this is the starting point of the frequency response. So we will see how this analysis is actually going to implemented in circuits.